Hi, this is Julie with Paradigm Interiors. This week I'm talking about how to create color palettes that don't overwhelm you. My number one tip for doing that is to use either neutral colors on your walls or to use a color that is desaturated and muted. So what I mean by desaturated and muted, that means light colors that have a lot of grayness to them. So you don't want to use light colors that are the truest expression of the color because that will look a little babyish, like a nursery. If you use something that is more in the gray tones, that will give you the color, but it won't be so bright or so precious like you would see in a child's room. So number two is to build up your color from that wall color or from the lightest expression of the color that's in your room. So if you're working with a monochromatic color palette, meaning that the only color you're using in the room would be blue or green or red or orange, then you're going to want to take that lightest expression of the color and build up your colors from there with the darkest or brightest expression of that color in the smaller objects in your room, the accents, the artwork, maybe in the textiles in your room. And then adding in some pieces, some fabrics or textiles or accessories that bring in the colors in between the lightest expression of the color that's on your wall and the darkest from your accessories. So a great fabric for showing you a monochromatic color scheme is this one. You can see that the darkest expression of the color is this navy blue, and then you have everything down to dusty baby blue colors, which might be something that you would use on your wall. So like starting with that light and dusty baby blue color, building up to this navy blue, but you see the overall effect of this fabric is a navy blue background with the lighter blue shades on top of it. So you could still even use the navy blue color on some smaller accessories in your space. So that's how I recommend doing a color build with a monochromatic color palette. So my last tip is if you want to use a multicolor color palette, you're going to want to use the most muted and desaturated color in that color palette. You're probably going to want to put that on your walls or a neutral color, and then on your larger pieces of furniture, neutrals or a desaturated and muted version of the color in your color palette, and then select one or two other colors from the palette and bring them in as accent pieces. So a great fabric for a multicolor color palette is this one. And you can see there's some really nice pinks and some mustardy yellows and greens. And then you also have this muted blue color in the background. So you're probably not going to want to bring in all four of those colors. You may want to use the muted teal color and maybe the mustard or the pink or the green in your color palette. And then you're going to bring in some of those colors with your accent furnitures and in your smaller accent accessories and in your other artwork. And that is those are my three best tips for how to create a color palette that isn't super overwhelming to you and will look very calming. If you want to see some visual examples of these types of rooms, go check out my Instagram page. I've been posting pictures this week of all of these types of examples of monochromatic color schemes that aren't too overwhelming, multicolor color schemes that aren't too overwhelming, and you'll be able to see what we're talking about here, and then you can come back to these tips and make sure you apply those. Hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.